It was absolutely delicious. What's up, little bud?
Okay, so Destiny 2 is all about all of the guns, the different subclasses, and the combination of both loadouts. So then that begs the question, which loadout is the best? And considering I only play Crucible, this video will be PvP loadouts only. So obviously different people prefer different things. The first type of dude who runs a certain type of loadout is the sweaty tryhard loadout. You'll see people with spare rations and Fellwinter celebrating, kind of like how you're seeing on the screen right now. And this means one of two things has happened. Either they've finally hit puberty or they just got their braces off, but definitely not both. Either way, this is going to be a sign of danger. When this type of player is joyful and dancing instead of blasting depressing lo-fi, then congratulations, you have now entered harm's way. And the second type of player is a player that relies on what I like to call the anti-meta safety net. So what they do is they intentionally run awful weapons, and then that way when they die or perform really poorly, it's not their fault, it's actually the fault of the loser kids in their lobbies that are using competent weaponry. This sort of player usually ranges in age from years 30 to 70, and you can usually find them running scout rifles, sidearms, and fusion rifles. And though they're not gonna always pose a threat, the time that they're most dangerous is freshly after the new release of a Candy Cakes video. And then once they're completely fed up with the meta, this is usually when they grab their malfeasance, they grab their fusion rifle, and they retreat to the welcoming shores of Reddit, where they can lecture others about anti-meta supremacy. And then there's me. I don't really have too much of a preference because I used to play in tournaments a ton in Destiny 1. Now I just make goofy YouTube videos, so I kind of just use a little bit of everything. And so for this video, I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite loadouts to use. So without further ado, let's check out loadout number 1.
Showtime.
The first loadout is the Bubble Titan with Dead Man's Tail Scout Rifle and pretty much any sort of shotgun. I'm using a Mindbenders in this video, but you could pretty much use anything. And so this is kind of my Scout Rifle loadout. A lot of times Scout Rifles in Destiny 2, they're not great because all of the maps aren't really built for it. There were a few maps back in Destiny 1, I think one of them was called First Light, that was really good for it. But as far as Destiny 2 goes, at the range that you're using a Scout Rifle, 99% of the time, you're just going to be better off with a Pulse. So with the Dead Man's Tail, it works a lot better at closer ranges, like close/medium ranges. It doesn't always have to be super long range, and it just has a really fun perk that I enjoy using. And then Bubble Titan is a personal favorite. I don't think it's that fantastic, but there's something that's fun about popping a bubble and just randomly killing a ton of people that are brave enough to run inside it. And then obviously the main reason you would run a shotgun is not necessarily because a shotgun is the greatest thing ever, but if you're already running a scout, there's pretty much no point of running a sniper. And if you ever get like charged at close range and you have a sniper and a scout, that is that is bad news. So this kind of runs more along the lines of anti-meta. I know that it's not entirely anti-meta because Dead Man's Tail is quite good, but it's something that is a good loadout that's not super mainstream, I guess. You know, it's not something like a spare rations and a beloved on Top Tree Dawn. This is something that if you want to have some fun and have some crazy stuff happen while you're playing PvP, this is my favorite loadout for that.
You triggered my trap card!
Loadout number 2 is pretty much, I mean, there's some slight modifications, but this is pretty much my go-to sweaty loadout, and it's what I used a ton like last year. I kind of reached a point where every single video was with Top Tree Dawn, and I didn't really experience Titan or Hunter or show them in any of my videos. And at one point, it just became really repetitive, just playing Warlock over and over and over again. So that's when I kind of started playing new stuff. But this is the back to the basics, like the best, and at least in my opinion, the best subclass for sniping and just the most fun, because you can snipe and you can still be really fast and mobile with the Icarus dashes. And a lot of times, like with shotguns and stuff, you're getting chased down, and having those Icarus dashes really lets you kind of maneuver the map a lot better and get into positions that are favorable for you, because sniping at the end of the day, at least at like the highest level, is really all about positioning and getting yourself in the right spot. So having that much mobility is just really good. Then obviously solar nades and the melee are amazing as well. The super is great. I think it got nerfed like sometime within the last year or so, but it's still amazing. And you don't have to run specifically what I'm running. It's essentially Top Tree Dawn with any hand cannon sniper combination is going to be just fine. It's just that my personal preference is Thorn with the Beloved. And so this is kind of the thing that in any of my videos where I really have to focus on winning, like the one where I played against some of my friends from school, and it started out as a 1v1, and then each time I won a game, they would get an extra person. In that sort of video, I honestly don't think I could have done on any other class. Like if you're a good player, and like the gameplay in this video kind of sucks for it because I haven't really used it in a long time, so my movement is really awful. Especially if you're going up against a team where your teammates aren't that great and you really have to carry. It's an amazing class. And then for the third loadout, this would kind of be the equivalent of what I talked about earlier, the sweaty tryhard loadout. And this is kind of like my serious shotgunning loadout. Unlike the Dead Man's Tale on Bubble Titan, this is going to be on Middle Tree Purple Boy. I don't remember what the subclass was called. Arc Night Star. I don't know, dude. Night Slasher, maybe? And then that with either Palindrome or Steady Hand with either Mindbenders or Felwatchers. The reason the gameplay is with Palindrome is because I actually don't have a Steady Hand and I didn't get gameplay of it. But if any of you have been paying attention to the PvP meta, it is very clearly probably the best hand cannon right now. And 120s are in an amazing spot, like so good of a spot that they are pretty much better than 140s. And so because of personal preference, I would choose the Palindrome. But if you're going for a strictly like 100% meta loadout, it would just be Stompies, Steady Hand, Felwincers on Middle Tree Night Stalker. And I think in this gameplay, I'm actually using Gunslinger and not Night Stalker, but you get the point. My opinion still stands. Honestly, as far as shotgunning goes, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable shotgunning with Titan movement compared to Hunter, just because I don't really get to play the game that often anymore. And whenever you're jumping all over the place with Stompies, it's very, it's very jolty and erratic, and my old man hands sometimes can't keep up to it. But if I was playing all the time and I was fully warmed up or whatever, I feel like Stompies in a shotgun is probably as ridiculous of shotgunning as you can really get right now. Like a year ago when I was still playing tournaments and stuff, I think Bottom Tree Striker was like completely the move for shotgunning. It's not really the move anymore. But if I had to, like, the reason I picked Hunter is because I already selected a Titan loadout. But one of my personal favorites for like sweaty shotgunning with a hand cannon and a shotgun would just be Bottom Tree Striker with the Dune Marchers, so that you can get the lightning chain, because you can get some ridiculous multi-kills with that. And it's kind of hard because there's so many good other candidates that could have replaced easily any of the loadouts that I included in this video. And I think that's kind of the whole point of Destiny. A lot of the stuff is quite similar, but you can really use a ton of different loadouts, and as long as you are a good player, you can still do decently well. The same can't be said with like Trials or whatever. You can't really use a scout rifle in Trials that effectively. But if you're running around in like Rumble or Control or something, this is a game where you can explore so many different loadout ideas, and if you're a pretty decent player and you can adapt to those loadouts, you can do really well with them. So I encourage all of you to try something different this week, especially if you're a bit tired of Destiny, it's feeling a little bit boring to you. Just try switching it up. A personal favorite, if you're going for something completely different, that I would recommend is Sturm and Drank. That is one of my favorite loadouts by far. And so that is it for this video. I know that this video was a little bit different than usual, but I think it could be fun mixing these in with the regular uploads. I definitely did do a lot of editing with the beginning part, but just doing casual commentary like this is pretty enjoyable for me. So if you liked the video, then you can support this video by liking it. If you don't want to miss a video moving forward, you can click on the bell. And a very quick shout out to my sponsors. You can use code SIRD at advanced.gg and evolvepcs.gg. Evolve makes some fantastic computers. I will be getting a new one from them soon. And if you want to help support me, then using those links always helps. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.